The Full Circle Podcast. Compelling interviews and incredible tales from Colorado's western slope, from the mountains to the desert. Christi, Reece, and her team hear from the movers, shakers, and characters of the Grand Valley and surrounding mountain towns that make the western slope the place we all love. You'll learn, you'll laugh, you'll love with The Full Circle. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Full Circle Podcast. I'm Christi, Reece, and I'm super excited today to have our guest, Betsy Bair, the Corporate Affairs Administrator for Community Hospital here in the Grand Valley. Welcome, Betsy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so excited to talk to you. I don't know a lot about your history other than what I just learned a couple minutes ago, but I think is really fascinating. So tell us a little bit about your early childhood.
Thanks. Christi, I had a great childhood and kind of a different one. I was born in Arizona, and my parents had gone to NAU. We lived in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful.
A lot of people compare Flagstaff to Grand Junction, kind of similar in size and recreation and things like that.
And I still have some family who lives there. And then I just think my parents were adventuresome. So when I was very young, we moved to Fairbanks, Alaska, and lived there in Fairbanks and then in Wainwright, which is above the Arctic Circle. Mm-hmm. I'm one of 11 children, number 6, so I'm the middle child, 5 above me, 5 below me. Yeah.
When you talking about a middle child, you really mean middle child.
But I always say, I have the perfect birth order because I lived with everyone. There's 20 years difference.
Span between the kids, yeah.
Yep. And so I knew everyone in a very different way. The older kids were literally at college or grown before we call them the babies were born. Uh-huh. And the babies are now in their 30s. So yeah, it was a fun way. And then
so big family living in the cold.
Yep. And in the Alaskan bush for quite a bit of it. And
you said you hauled water?
Well, when we lived in Wainwright, they had water, your water would freeze. So you had your house and then a little house connected to it that was fully insulated. Mm-hmm. And a water truck would bring water in. And you had these big, huge water tanks. And that's all the water you could use. So.
And then after Alaska?
New Jersey.
Big change.
Huge change, right? I was in middle school and talk about culture shock. And we were this huge family moving back east, and from Alaska, we were kind of the strange anomaly. And 2 years later, my parents said we're going home. And my mom was from Western Colorado, and her mom lived here and many aunties. And so we moved to Western Colorado.
And what year was that?
1991.
Okay. And what did you think of Grand Junction when you arrived here? Were you excited?
At that point, we had moved a lot. So I was excited, but it was just kind of here we are moving again as a family. But we moved right before my 8th grade year, and we moved to Fruita. Well, we lived on Orchard Mesa for a quick minute, and then my parents found a house. And I loved getting roots. So when all my friends had the wanderlust to leave, especially after high school, they wanted to get out.
Right, got to get out of here.
I was kind of well, my granny's here, my aunties are here. It felt good to stay here. And so I made the choice then to go to Mesa. And back then it was Mesa State with CMU. So. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And your education was in what field?
My undergrad is in political science.
Political science and government.
Yep.
And you got a master's degree as well.
I did. Not till 2018, though.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. From Colorado Christian University.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was time, and my kids were old enough. And at the time, Christi, my husband, was in nursing school, which is a second career for him.
Oh, wow.
And we thought we'd wait. And then he said, listen, we're not doing anything. We're not traveling very much. We're not doing the things that we normally like to do. Why don't we just go for it? So he went to nursing school, and I went to grad school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And, it was really neat. Our son was in middle school and our daughter was in elementary school, and they were so supportive. And they would be like, Mom, do you have homework? Should you be doing this? It was so neat and really great. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So when you went into Palisade, what did you have any ideas about what you wanted to do for a career?
I thought I'd go to law school. And then after graduation, Colorado Mesa University used to have this really amazing program, and I hope and pray they'll bring it back truly. And I've had conversations with John Marshall and Derek Wagner, and I think they're starting to have some conversations. So my senior year, I spent an entire semester at the state capitol.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was my senior seminar, and from January to May, when the legislative session was in session, I was paired with a state legislator, and really it was fun. The year that I went was the first year that Colorado enacted term limits, and so it was 1/3 of the legislature had turned over. So all these freshman legislators. And
you're in the mix.
So I worked for then Senator Ron Tech. It was his freshman year. And we still laugh when I see him. He said, sometimes I'd ask you to, we didn't know what we were doing together. But it was really fun because everybody was so helpful. So he'd say, could you find out how we do this? And I'd go, and he said, sometimes you'd be gone 2 or 3 hours. And then you'd come back and be like, okay, this is where we start. This is who we talk to. This is what we have to do. So it was really amazing to learn the process and really fun.
Oh, gosh, I bet. So did you think about going into politics as well?
A little bit. But at that time, I was just trying to find a job and pay off my student loan. I was young and kind of what's next? And a really great job to work for the U.S. House of Representatives came, and it kind of fell in my lap. And so I went to work for Scott McGinnis when he served in the House.
You were regional director?
No, at that time I was a caseworker.
Okay.
So I started at the very bottom and in Grand Junction, but I got to learn a lot about then the federal side of things.
So did you spend your time doing research or traveling with Scott or?
A little bit, only on the Western Slope, but mostly my job was to help constituents with federal agencies. So if they had a problem, say a Social Security or an IRS or a Bureau of Land Management or a Forest Service, we would work to be the liaison between the constituent and that federal agency. So it was really, I learned a lot.
I bet you did. You learned a lot about the process of and how things get done or not.
Right.
Get done.
Both.
Yeah.
And then I got married. So I left Scott's office and went to work in finance. And I wasn't very good at it, Christi. I didn't really love it. But it was a great job. I was there for 4 years.
I mean, pencil pusher or is not the first thing I think of when I think of Betsy Bair.
Oh,
sitting in a room and just with a calculator.
I like the people.
Yeah.
I really
You're
did.
definitely a people person. And what did that finance entail?
So I was an assistant for some brokers, so financial brokers, and then they wanted me to stay and grow with them, and we wanted to start a family. So we made the choice when I was pregnant and went on maternity leave with the true idea that I'd come back, and my boss decided to retire. And so it was kind of an easy decision at that point to say, all right. And we made the choice that I'd be home for a few years. So
good for you.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
When my babies were little, I was home with them, and we have 2 children. So,
But you probably always had a notion that when they got to a certain age, you would start work again.
I did. I knew that I wanted to work, and then life kind of happened. 2008 hit, and my husband was laid off, and we joked whoever got a job first would go back to work, and we both got jobs about the same time. So our son was in elementary school and our daughter was about to start. So we decided that was the time that we both would go back to work. And he determined he wanted to go back to school at that time as well. So we both worked a year and just saved so he could go back to school.
So when did you get started with community hospital then?
I've only been at community hospital for 2 years. And I didn't know that healthcare was for me, but it is so fascinating. And I talk about drinking from the fire hose. I was brought on to start their governmental affairs program and do some grant writing for them, which we've been able to do some really great projects because of that.
Yeah. And did you have experience with grant writing through some of the government work that you'd done before?
A little bit, but I had worked at the Grand Junction Area Chamber of Commerce for 4 years doing their governmental relations. So that was my biggest exposure to it. And then through, after that, I went to work for Senator Gardner when he was in the U.S. Senate. And so that's probably my biggest exposure. I saw so much federal money and so much state money that was coming in, and learned some of the processes to help not-for-profits have access to that money and to those funds. So yeah, that's probably more where I learned about that.
Yeah. And so your role as corporate affairs administrator, tell us at Community Hospital, tell us kind of what that entails besides grant writing. And you do a lot of community outreach.
I do. And so I just joke and say that I say yes at work. They say, what do you do at work? I just say yes. So like I said, the governmental affairs is a big portion. And yesterday, the state legislature went into session. So I joke that that's kind of my Super Bowl. It was fun to watch. And then the week before, U.S. House and Senate had gone in, and we watched everything with that. So
Fascinating.
Yeah. I follow legislation both federally and statewide for that impacts hospitals and healthcare. And then workforce, of course, right now my lens is healthcare, but there's so many pieces of legislation that impact employers, that impact our employees. And so I follow a lot of that. And then some of that is we'll talk about it, or we will testify either for or against it. I had the opportunity last year to testify on a great bill for employer-based childcare at the State House. There was a grant that they wanted to continue to fund, and we were a recipient at Community Hospital for some of those grant funds, which has allowed us to start to build an early childhood education child care center.
That is so awesome. And I know childcare is a major issue for a lot of larger employers and honestly for the community as a whole, right? Just finding enough space for the kids, for the parents that want to have their kids in childcare or need to have their kids in childcare. So what does it mean to you to be able to launch this project?
It's exciting because Mesa County did the Child Care 8,000. Mesa County did a study, and right now we have 4,000 slots short. So we need 8,000 slots for childcare right now. And I think about how many moms want to go back to work or have to work or want to, both. I think about our employees, and really during the pandemic, this came to a head. 80% of our workforce at Community Hospital, and that kind of follows the national trend in healthcare, are female. And so everybody else had the opportunity to work from home. Our employees did not. Mm-hmm. And then schools were shut down, daycares were shut down. All of a sudden, this crisis hit. And we said at the hospital, we need to do something about it. So I love that it's going to recruit and retain really amazing employees. We have a nurse, and she told me she has 5 children, and she's amazing. She gets these such great feedback from our patients, and I just know that for her, she keeps saying I'm on the wait list, I can't wait. But for her, it will make a huge difference to know her kids are well cared for, her children are taken care of with really high quality and on our campus. So it's amazing.
That's a really big deal too. I know we don't have a lot of traffic or a lot of drive time here in the Grand Valley, but even if you're spending 20 minutes one way, that still can be an hour out of your day just dropping off and picking up, right? And if you have kids with different ages at different locations, it can be a real nightmare. So kudos to Community Hospital and what you're doing there for your folks. You have a lot of other things going on at Community Hospital too. I'm really excited about James Pulsipher Cancer wing. Is it the wing?
Regional Cancer Center. So we are doubling the size of the hospital in a state-of-the-art cancer center. So if you drive by Community Hospital right now, there's a lot of construction going on. But we're really proud to be able to offer truly state-of-the-art care. It'll be the largest cancer center between Denver and Salt Lake. And that makes me feel good too, because cancer impacts everybody in some way or another, and that we'll be able to give care right here. When people have to travel, when they're seeking care, especially like you're in this crisis mode, frankly, and then you have to leave your home, your support system, and travel to get care. It's not the best situation, and we're proud to be able to help offset that.
Mm-hmm. And what is the construction schedule? When do you hope to?
24 for that. It's the steel beams are in. Actually, so much of it's going up. The windows are coming on. So January of 24 is our hope to be able to open.
And the hospital itself was completed in what year?
2016 is when they moved.
So yeah, that's amazing. Less than 10 years later that you're doubling the size.
Yeah, we think so too.
Talk a little bit about what makes Community Hospital unique. And I mean, it's very well respected, and Chris Thomas is very well respected. And I think a lot of people don't know, your mission and what you're all about.
Sure, thank you. I love to work for Chris because he's really innovative, and he's really forward thinking. So it's fun to work for somebody like that, because sometimes I say, hey, I have an idea. And he says, okay, go. And which makes it fun because a lot of outside the box thinking. But thank you for the kind words. And Community Hospital is unique because we are one of the only independent hospitals left in Colorado. We're not part of a large system. We have a local operating board. So these are your neighbors. These are people who live next door to us, who live and work in Grand Junction, who own businesses, who are managers right here. And so they understand the impact of having quality health care. I think that's what makes us different. And because we're smallish, we're considered a tweener hospital, we're able to be nimble and look at the needs of our community and react quickly. I joke that we're not a behemoth. You don't have to take forever to turn the boat. We can say, right now we're bringing in water here. All right, go and take care of that right now. So that's where I think we're unique. And then we have some really great providers, really great doctors, really great caregivers, again, who live here. Most of our employees live right here or, in the surrounding areas. So they want to live in Grand Junction and surrounding areas because it's like where they want to be. It's easy to recruit here because we get doctors here and providers here.
The lifestyle is great. Mm-hmm. So there's no shortage of workforce for Community Hospital?
Well, nationally, there's nursing shortages, and we felt that. Nationally, there's shortages in certain specialties, and of course, we've dealt with some of that, but we've been able to grow our product lines. We have a new cardiology lab and I'm going to say it wrong, but in-heart procedure center, I believe. That catheterization, I never can say right.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's where I'm not clinical, Christi.
No worries.
But there's really smarter people than me who are. So we have the new cath lab that's just opened in the last 2 years. We're just growing these amazing products so people have choice in the Grand Valley, and they have really amazing providers who can care for them.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, the pandemic was really tough on healthcare workers. What do you see with hospital staff and employees and doctors and nurses now that the load has lessened, but it's still not gone, right?
I actually think the load didn't lessen. And I'll speak from a personal viewpoint. I'm married to a nurse, and an oncology nurse. Sadly, I think what happened is during the pandemic, we weren't super busy. Hospitals weren't. They were caring for really, really ill people. And sadly, through COVID, we lost many people. As a society, we didn't know in the beginning, what we were dealing with. And I saw really innovative work being done on behalf of patients. And now we're seeing people who are very ill because maybe they didn't go in for that mammogram, or maybe they didn't go in for their primary care. Part of it was fear. Part of it was, maybe they didn't have the access that they had previously. So we are seeing a big uptick in hospitals, but we believe that we can care for them and are doing everything we can to care for our patients, and will continue to do so.
Do you think there's any major lessons learned here in the Grand Valley about the pandemic response? I mean, I think that the collaboration with all of the different organizations in the Valley was absolutely incredible, and probably we had a lot of models here for national viewing. I mean, we had collaboration, we had the programs at CMU. What is community hospital preparing for? How are they preparing for, what happens next?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, collaboration. We as a small community came together and said, okay, in the beginning it was PPE, the protective, personal protective equipment. We worked together to make sure everybody had it who needed it, even before the national stockpiles were opened. And we came together and said, okay, we need a response together. So I think we learned that we can and should work together, and there's been a lot of that. Our community comes together and not just community hospital, but our community comes together. And then I've seen a lot of work being done now on response, future pandemic, sadly, and as we switch from pandemic to endemic, and then as we've moved, community hospital is doing a lot. We have many committees and collaboration internally and then externally to say, what would we do, lessons learned, what did we learn, and how can we get better? So I see that.
This is likely not the last kind of situation we will have like this in our lifetimes. Hopefully.
Hopefully. I look back, my grandma lived to 103, and she, lived through the Spanish flu, or do we call it that? The influenza, just everything. And then it'll be interesting to see if our kids look back to us and say, we lived through the COVID-19 pandemic, or is this will more come? I don't know. And I'm not an epidemiologist or an infectious disease doctor. I don't have a crystal ball. Yeah.
Our kids are similar ages, so challenging through COVID, having kids in school. Thankfully, I thought District 51 did a fantastic job of, again, collaborating with Mesa County Health and the hospitals and just, making a plan for the kids, but still difficult on kids and teenagers all the way around.
Hear, hear. We had two kind of experiences in our house. Our son, when everything hit and they went into lockdown, he's a rigor-based student, so had pretty good grades. And the district said, all right, whatever their grades are, they can keep if they like them. So he started playing video games.
It's right on him. I'm good.
Our daughter, on the other hand, sometimes I'm outing her, but she struggled in school a little bit and works so hard, gets great grades, but works really hard. She loved it because she took that time to really look at her grades. She liked the rigor of having to check in every morning and kind of get her assignments and be able to do them at her leisure on the computer and get them turned in. And her grades went up. So we laugh that the pandemic worked differently for our children, but I would agree with you wholeheartedly. We saw really good support from District 51.
Another note I have on my sheet about community hospital is the new Palisade clinic.
Oh yeah, we're so excited about this to partner.
And I really don't know much about this at all, so I'd love to learn some more.
Oh, thanks, Christi. So my understanding prior to me coming to work for a community hospital almost 2 years ago is the town of Palisade really said, we are a healthcare desert. And if you look, community hospital, we have 28 and a quarter road, 28 and a half road, and Patterson, we have quite a few clinics there. There's nothing then east of that in the valley for healthcare. There used to be a clinic in Clifton, and my understanding is it just never stayed open. So Palisade came to community hospital and said, would you like to do something? And there was really no location. So again, having Chris Thomas at our head, he started driving around with city council and started looking, and they saw this area of the old high school, and it needed to be remediated. And so we entered into a contract with the town, and they needed to remove some of that because of asbestos.
Asbestos, and yeah.
And we're able to do, through some grant funding and congressionally directed spending, we're able to tear that down. So we've worked to fundraise with them, again, through grants and others, and we'll continue to do so. And April, is it April next? No, April of 2023. Can we believe we're in 2023?
I know.
Spring.
I'm not sure if I've written it yet. Maybe typed it, but
yeah, I was going to say next year, and then I realized we're in this year. So our clinic will open in spring, early summer of this year, and we just feel so proud, again, to be able to offer that to our community. With the Palisade Plunge coming in, there will be an urgent care there. There's going to be clinic where you can have your labs done, you can have COVID vaccines, everything right there, and x-rays, some diagnostic tools, and provide, we also see a really great partnership with our agriculture producers, with our migrant workforce and our farm workers, and are hoping to be able to help care for them as well.
That's wonderful, wonderful. There's a lot of vacant land out there still on the 24 road corridor. But I know there's some other businesses that are coming into that area. Does Community Hospital have more plans to expand or future dreams and hopes out in that area?
I think we always have future dreams and hopes. I look at our 100-slot child care center and really think we could go to 2 or even 3 fairly quickly. And I'd love to see us partner with businesses who are coming in and say, do your employees need this? And we've had many businesses reach out to us in that area as that corridor continues to grow. And really, as you can imagine, I see a lot of growth. Again, no crystal ball, but just a lot of growth coming into that area. So that'd be my next project. And then we always look at some workforce housing, and that's something that we're starting to have just small discussions on and say who's our right partners for that, and how do we help provide housing for our workers.
Another big topic for all the stakeholders in town, right? Yeah, everybody needs affordable housing, and thankfully, we in the real estate business are excited that the prices have started to come down a little bit because they got really inflated, and I think a little settling of the market is going to be good for people.
Good.
So, yeah.
And attainable. We talk about affordable, but I think if you look at each area, that's different. So how do we make it attainable for our employees? And again, that's a retention and recruitment tool.
Absolutely. So what about volunteer opportunities at Community Hospital? I mean, we like to promote nonprofits around the Christi Reece group here and talk about what opportunities there are for people to come and help out at the hospital. Are there any?
Absolutely. And thanks. We appreciate, last year, our Early Childhood Education Center received some of your Circle Grant funds. So thank you. And thanks. I don't know who nominated us, but I give a big shout out and say thank you for that. We have a volunteer coordinator, and she is just really dynamic. So there are many different opportunities for volunteerism at Community Hospital. Some people come in and they actually physically volunteer, and they they take our patients, and if you're checking in, they'll walk you to your room or to wherever you need to go for a procedure. Then we have some right now who work really kind of some neat things. We have a social responsibility council, and they take a lot of the fabric that comes in when I hope I'm explaining it right, Stephanie. I hope I'm getting this right. When sterile equipment comes in, that fabric can't be used, but they take it, recycle it, and have been sewing bags. And so, it's perfectly comfortable to use outside, but we can't use it in a clinical setting again. It's that kind of blue cloth that you see. And so we have volunteers who are really making it into reusable and washable bags. So there's really always volunteer. If you could think of it, we probably could find a spot for you. So Christina Odell is our volunteer coordinator, and she's amazing.
Awesome. Because I know a lot of people, we're getting such a retirement community here, and I think there's a lot of people that want to help older people or people that have suffered with all kinds of maladies, and maybe a hospital setting is a good way for them to get involved.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that. I know through COVID we had to shut some of that down, but it's really starting to open. And
thank goodness.
The oncology center and cancer center opening, there will be opportunities to sit with people receiving chemo and just all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, lots of people that need someone by their side during those kind of things.
Yep.
What else can you share with us about community hospital or your job or your life?
Christi, I love right now with the Early Childhood Education Center, we were able to apply with the state of Colorado, and we received what's called the Child Care Contribution Tax Credit. The Colorado Child Care Contribution Tax Credit. Say it 5 times fast, and
it's like
C's. What that is a really great opportunity that if an individual or a business donates to the Early Childhood Education Center, Adventure Academy, we were able to name the road behind Community Hospital. It's a private road, and we put it out to our employees and did a big kind of a fun thing to name it, and it's Adventure Lane, because we figured the emergency room access is there. So if you're on an adventure and need to come see us, we're going to take great care of you. And now Adventure Academy, our child care center, is right on the other side of it. So Adventure Academy was named for that, but it's 50% tax credit, so up to $100,000 in a year. And that's the number one biggest tax credit the state of Colorado gives. And we had to apply and go through a process, and we were chosen to receive that for child care. And so that CCCCC tax credit is something really amazing and can be used, for, of course, philanthropic, but sometimes people need a tax credit and a financial solution. So we're happy about that.
Right. So get in touch with somebody at Community Hospital to learn more.
They can call me. They can call the foundation. Yeah. And
I'm sure there's lots of information online too.
Correct.
That's a great thing.
And we'll be working hard at the state legislature this year. That tax credit expires at the end of 2023. But our own Janice Rich is carrying it, and former County Commissioner Rose Puglisi is serving from El Paso County in the State House. She's one of the sponsors, and so bipartisan through the state legislature, and we believe it'll be extended past 2023.
Awesome. And you all do a few fundraisers throughout the year. Do I remember that the bike ride, did that have to be?
My understanding is that went away, and I don't know why.
I kind of was doing that with the curled lip. Like, do I remember that it went away?
There's been some discussion. Is it time to bring it back? And I'll tell you honestly, I don't know the details of why, though I've ridden it myself in the past, and my husband and I like to ride bikes, and so that was something fun. But we have an amazing gala each year, and that's our largest fundraiser. And then we do some really fun things, a golf tournament, and then our foundation does whiskey pulls and just different outside of the box fundraisers. So we are always looking, and we're trying to continue to fundraise for Adventure Academy and be able to offset the cost of that for our employees and for the community slots. And then the Cancer Center, of course, just Palisade. There's hospitals as a not-for-profit always need funds to help our patients. We have some really great funds for those who travel for care, and great local partnerships with some of the hotels that we're able to give them reduced rates when they come to seek treatment, and their families, and just sometimes they need a gas card, or and that's through our foundation and just the work of our community.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been to community hospital a couple times. I had a mammogram there recently, and yes, I stay up on that. And,
good job.
And it was smooth process, and they made it really easy and painless.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love to hear that. Thank you.
Really good
and good
experience.
Job staying on top of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all have to get all those tests done all the time, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to say a big thank you to you and everybody at Community Hospital for being such a big leader in the community, and just being a shining example of collaboration and hard work and community love.
Thanks, Christi, and
really
thanks
cool.
for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
If there's anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think just Palisade, the Cancer Center, the childcare, and I'm sure the next time we talk, we'll have something else.
Yeah,
that's the fun thing.
I can imagine. We should just do this every year and see what's going on.
It's a deal.
Time. Okay.
It's a deal. So
thanks
for having me.
This has been Betsy Bair with Community Hospital, and thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time, listeners and viewers, on the Full Circle podcast. Thanks for joining us. Bye. Thanks for listening. This is Christi Reece signing out from the Full Circle podcast.